Welcome to the Roundtable. I'm Maura Carlin, and as you heard and probably know, Sunday is Mother's Day. So we're featuring a mom who started her own business. Welcome Hemlata Nambiar, who's the founder of 13-1 Outerwear.
Correct. Hi,
Thanks,
Maura.
Thanks for being here. Why don't you tell us what prompted you to start a business in the first place, and then we'll talk about 13-1.
Well, first, I just want to say thank you for having me on the show. Well, I had a small accessories business. I made scarves from home, and then I found out about a program called the Goldman Sachs Tory Burch 10,000 Small Business Program, and I decided to apply for it. And 6 months later, I found out that I had been accepted. And what that entailed was going to LaGuardia College for 5 months, once a week. And basically, the program gave you the tools to sustain a small business. So they taught you about marketing, accounting, social media, all the things that you need to make your business sustain and grow. And that's where I created the line of jackets that you see behind me, as well as the dog jackets here in the front.
So tell us about what is 13-1.
So 13-1 comes from the name of a half a marathon. It's the number of miles in half a marathon. So I did a few of those, and I was introduced to the technology, the space technology, when I was wrapped in a heat sheet at the end of the race. And you see behind me, it's the silver lining in every product that we create.
And what is special about that lining?
The uniqueness is it retains 90% of your body heat. So as you start moving, your body heats up. Our outerwear will retain 90% of it.
Now, you started this business 2 years ago.
Yes.
While you were in the middle of raising a family.
Mm-hmm.
Why was the timing right then?
The timing is never right, but when you have kids, because even when they go to college, they need you. So we have a son in third year college, a senior at high school, and a junior in high school. And so being an entrepreneur gives me the flexibility to weave in between their schedule and still work at the business.
What's been the hardest thing about trying to start a new business?
Let's see, there's a lot of things. Being flexible is the positive thing, but having funding or getting funding is very, very difficult for a new entrepreneur. I was home for 19 years, and so I didn't have a credit history. So one day I decided to walk down to our local bank, and happy as a bee, I filled out all the application. And now with the technology, they can tell you when you apply, if you get accepted or not. And I was rejected. And
were you shocked?
I was devastated. I came home and I felt like I didn't exist. And it never even occurred to me that I didn't have a credit history. So just remember, build up your credit. It's very, very important. Being an entrepreneur is to get that first loan or someone to believe in you.
Okay. I've now forgotten my question, which doesn't. In terms of how much time you spend on a given day, take us through a day of work.
Okay, so I wake up at 6:30, get the kids out of the house by 7:15, 7:20. I try to go to the gym
Don't we
3
all
times
try?
a week, but lately I have a pile of emails that need to be, answered to. And so from 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock, I am working on my business. Then I pick up the kids and then cook, soccer, baseball, and I'm done. And then at 8 o'clock, I sit down again and I work on my social media. But that's the time that I spend with my husband as well. So that there's been that pull where he wants me to shut down, but it's the only time that I can apply to increase my followers, and update some photos or post some photos.
So even with the flexibility from having your own business, you're still having problems with the timing and the scheduling.
Yeah, there's just not enough hours in the day. There's just so many things to do. And because I'm a solo entrepreneur, I do the marketing, I do the creating, I do, all the reading too. You have to keep up with what's going on. So it's a lot.
In terms of the design, did you design it?
Yes.
Those were your designs?
Yes.
And you had to then find a source for manufacturing and for the fabric? Was that all part of what you had to do?
So I had the fabric. And then I found one day I went to 39th Street and I needed somebody to create my designs into an actual product. So I must have knocked on 30 doors before one of the design makers took me in and said, yes, I can work with this fabric. And so she built my prototypes. I spent a lot of money on those, but it was worth it. And then I tried to get people to make them here in the United States because I really wanted to keep it. And the price was just not working. And then the supplier of the fabric said, why don't we do this? We have some manufacturers overseas. Why don't we help you find manufacturers? And they did that, and it's been wonderful. They do everything for me, from supplying the fabric to making it and getting it shipped.
But you had to learn the whole distribution chain.
I did.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to learn a little more about pros, cons, and lessons you've learned in becoming a mompreneur. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Do you know how to request our services? Just go to lmctv.org. Under the service banner, click Forms. In our Forms section, you can apply to be a volunteer, learn about membership, learn about corporate underwriting, request a bulletin board, coverage, DVD dubs, equipment, and PSAs.
It's all a click away at lmctv.org.
Welcome back. We're talking to mompreneur Hemlata Nambiar of 13-1 Outerwear. Thanks for joining us again. Let's talk about advice for future mompreneurs, which is a term that you like. Is that correct?
Yes, I do. Because I'm a mom and I'm an entrepreneur and I own it.
So you must have learned a lot of lessons in doing this. I know you mentioned about having a credit history or maintaining a credit history. But in starting a business, can you give us some advice about things to do or not to do?
Yes. Start small. Don't be afraid. And accept that you're going to fail. And
let's break them down and take all three of those.
Failing is an opportunity to learn. Now, I didn't know anything about designing clothes or having my own shop, so I've had to fall and get back up. And there's been days where, as an entrepreneur, there's a lot of downs more than ups. But when that up is there, it makes you, keep going. It gives you hope. It makes your day. And so I just say, keep at it.
Have you had a mentor, and do you think one should look for a mentor?
Oh, absolutely. Without mentors, you need a sounding board, right? Because there's so many questions. And yes, I rely on Google 80% of the time, but there's sometimes when you just need a voice. And so from Goldman Sachs, Tory Burch, I have my classmates, 30, who graduated with me. I also have the group Alley to Valley, who are professional women in the city. They formed a group, and it's all professional women who help one another. And then just my friends. Larchmont has abundance amount of women who are brilliant. And so I just have to call a few of my friends, and they'll advise me whether it's in law or accounting or social media or marketing, or just, if I'm having a bad day, they listen.
Do you find that one could start a business while they still have another full-time job?
No.
You wouldn't recommend that?
No. It's just too much. There's not enough time in the day, and one would be hurting the other, right? If you have a full-time job, and unless it's a fixed hour, 9 to 5, and you can address, from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, yes. But if your first job is not flexible, no way.
You started this when your kids were teenagers? Mm-hmm. Do you think it's something, would you recommend it for someone with younger children to start their own business?
Younger than teenagers?
Yes.
It all depends on the family dynamic. If the husband has a flexible, career where he can jump on the train and come back home when you need to go to a meeting or you have something to do, then yes. But if he is traveling, if he is working long hours, then it's very hard. It's very difficult.
Do you have any regrets?
Oh, no, not at all. I am having the best time of my life. I'm learning with my children.
Are they involved in the business?
They're not involved, but it's very interesting. They'll ask me questions, out of the blue. Hey, Mom, how was your day today? Hey, Mom, that call you had, did anything come out of it? And so now they know what bootstrapping is, they know what equities are, they know what VCs are. So yeah, they're learning with me, which is great.
Do you think any of them will want to join you? Or do you want them to?
Well, you know what? If they did want to join me, it would mean that the company's doing really well, right?
Right.
So we can only hope.
why don't you give everyone your website? I know you're running a Mother's Day special, so let's get that information out there before we have to wrap.
So anyone who doesn't have a gift yet lined up for their special mom, we're running a 15% discount right now, and the website is www.13-one.com. And there'll be 15% off our doggy jackets as well as our jackets. And they come in 3 styles.
Why don't you tell us about the styles while we're at it?
So the one the mannequin's wearing is a full zip, and it has a little dip at the back, which is a sporty look. And then we have a pullover, which is a very sporty look that teenagers and college students love. And then we have a trench for women, which is a little longer, and it's a straight cut. Great for, all 3 jackets are great for travel. They weigh less than 1 pound. They're warm. They look pretty good.
When you say warm, what's the coldest you could wear them in?
Well, last week we got photos from our customer who went to the Mount Everest base, and she climbed 17,000 feet. So that is the highest it's been.
Okay, so that's pretty cold.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us, Hemlata Nambiar, 13-1.
Yes.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you so much, and you too.